I can't remember ever numbering rules myself personally. Maybe I numbered them at the very beginning, but I probably moved away from that very quickly. And I try to keep things minimal. I try to keep them light. And the thing is that it takes time to write things down, takes time to read things. And I want things as clean as possible. And for me, clean means as little ink on the page or as little, I guess, graphite on the page as possible for my scratch paper. So numbering to me is non-essential. It just does not need to be there. Same goes for numbering slots. If I have a game with placing 7 variables in order 1 through 7, maybe for my main diagram, I might number the slots 1 through 7 just because that's the main diagram I might keep referring back to. But for a local diagram for a specific question, I wouldn't number the slots because I can just jump in at slot 3 and put a variable down there, or slot 5, slam a variable down there. I mean, slot 5 is only 3 slots away from the end. So you have slot 5 and then slots 6 and 7. So I've only got to start at the end and count back a few slots to get to number 5. You're never that far from the middle, depending on whichever point you start at. Like the max number of variables you might have is maybe 9 if you're putting things in order. And that's rare. I think probably like 5 through 7 is a pretty typical number of slots to have in a game. So it's not so many that I feel that an absolute necessity to number them. Maybe you get more comfortable with time with it, but I would tend away from that, or I'd at least expect that those who are more experienced, that could just come with time, would become more comfortable moving away from it. After you've done maybe 30 games, 40 games, 50 games, after a certain point, own the process enough to recognize when do you actually need to do it and when don't you need to do it. When is it useful and when is it actually costing you time? So if you become comfortable enough with referring back to rules or properly diagramming all the rules or properly going through the slots to know, okay, well, I can easily find slot 5 and I don't need to actually have the slots numbered to quickly get to slot 5. Once you're at that point, and just check in with yourself a month in after working with logic games or after having done 30, 40 logic games, to trust yourself enough to say, do I really need this anymore? Is it time to finally let go of the training wheels on my bike because I've got the balance down? And maybe you'll fall off the bike every once in a while. But if you're only falling off the bike 1 in 10 times, maybe it's worth taking a risk because it'll let you go that much faster. Don't rely on a book or something to give you all the answers regarding how to do it. They're largely meant for beginners. But once you're intermediate, it's time to take ownership of the process and step away from doing things automatically. I think if you diagram a rule wrong, it's not going to be because you didn't number the rule. It's going to be because you just didn't double check your understanding of the rules. Maybe you just slow down as you're processing the rule. But I can't actually see how numbering it would help you diagram it correctly. I think if anything, numbering it might just help you make sure that if there were, let's say, 4 indented rules, that you actually laid out 4 of them. But in reality, I would think that maybe 2 of them will be abstract, meaning that they wouldn't fit on the main diagram itself. And 2 of them you could just slot right onto the main diagram. But you don't need to write them separately and also on the main diagram. If it goes on the diagram, just put it on the diagram. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.